Well, good evening. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's debate, this Michigan 11th Congressional Forum and Debate, and it's so great that you're here tonight at the Flagstar Strand Theater, the historic Flagstar Strand Theater right here in downtown Pontiac. Isn't it great to be in Pontiac tonight? Well, if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Dustin McClellan, and I serve as founder and CEO of the Pontiac Community Foundation, and we are delighted, in conjunction with Oakland Forward, to host this important debate and forum tonight, and we're so glad that you're here tonight, as well as those that are listening and tuning in online. We're streaming on Facebook, and if you would share that to your friends, if you're here in the audience, look that up, share it so everyone can be informed and tune in tonight. I want to take just a moment to give you an overview of where we're headed tonight, and also take a moment to give you a little bit of a glimpse on the two organizations that are hosting tonight's debate. First of all, in just a few moments, you're going to hear from Kermit Williams, who's the co-director of Oakland Forward, to give you a little bit of an overview and housekeeping items for tonight, as well as Tamika Ramsey, who is the co-convener of the Black Women's Roundtable, and we're so grateful that each of them are here tonight. For your reference, the mission of the Pontiac Community Foundation is to build a brighter future for Pontiac by engaging philanthropy, leadership, and collaboration to tackle Pontiac's most pressing issues. And the mission of Oakland Forward is to build power, to remove economic, racial, and social barriers, to provide opportunities for individuals with a focus on people of color in Oakland County. And so tonight, after Tamika and Kermit come, we're going to hear from some of our county and statewide folks that are running. We're going to recognize some of those that maybe we were unable to get in touch with ahead of time, make sure that they are recognized here in the audience, and then we will welcome to the stage the main debate with our two debaters tonight. And so we're so delighted that you're here tonight, and I want to bring to the stage at this time to talk about the importance of tonight's debate, Tamika Ramsey.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the city of Pontiac, my home. I am so thankful that all of you could come. The importance of this is the city of Pontiac is the county seat, right? We know the importance in the heartbeat of the city of Pontiac throughout Oakland County, but we also know that the Oakland County is a very important place and a very important county for things like this. To be able to hear from people who are running to represent us, to be able to ask questions, to see if they have our same and shared values is really important, and I'm just so thankful we can all be here. One of the main important reasons that civic engagement is important, because we the people is the beginning of a very important document that we hold dear to our hearts in this country. And sometimes I think we forget that when we elect people, they work for us. We forget and lose our power. And so this is just one in the start of many events that will be held by Pontiac Community Foundation, Oakland Forward, and Black Women's Roundtable in order to restore the power back to the people. We want you to be able to ask questions, so if you have the pink note cards, please hold them up and we will get them so that we can get them to the moderators. If you want to ask a question and did not get a pink note card, if you can hold your hand up, we will make sure that you get one. Okay, thank you. I see a couple of hands. We will make sure that you get one. Thank you. Put your hands down, and when they come back in with them, I'll let you know to hold them up again so you don't have to hold them up too long. So civic engagement, especially for the city of Pontiac, is important. I tell a lot of people, under emergency management, our mayor, our council did not have a voice. We elected people who could not do anything. And so apathy set in our city. And over the years, we have been able to regain power, and we have been able to return people back to the polls. And it is events like this, having these type of meetings, talking to people, listening, pushing back and holding people accountable is really important, not only for us in the city of Pontiac, but for you in whatever city or township that you live in. So once again, we welcome you and thank you for coming. The young ladies with the cards are back in, so if you want to ask a question, please hold your hands up. And now I will hand it over to the amazing Kermit Williams.
Oh, that sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. So they brought me out to be the bad guy. I have to do the housekeeping rules, okay? So everybody who's with me right now, you guys look so good in the audience. I need you to turn your cell phone on silent. All right. How many people in here are photographers, right? If you're not from the Detroit News, the Free Press, Fox News, do not take any pictures while this is going on. Thank you very much. We do have a photographer in the building. So also, we want to make sure that you guys are not silenced. If you hear something that's good in the debate, I want you to clap. I want you to be rowdy. But I also want you to be very respectful. Everybody say respectful. Okay, that was half the audience. That was the people from outside of Pontiac. Okay, let's try that again. Everybody say be respectful. Okay, now you sound good. I can smile at you guys for that. So without further ado, now that you had the ground rules, I didn't see anybody reach in their pocket to turn off their cell phone, so I'm going to do that one more time. Please put your cell phone on silent. Okay, thank you, Ms. Haley Mama, for putting it on silent. I appreciate it. Okay, so I have the next job to bring up some of the candidates, but before we do that, we do want to recognize some of the candidates we have in the audience. We have candidate for Oakland County Circuit Judge, Amanda Shelton. Where are you at? All right, we also have Teresa Dave running for judge. Where are you at? Okay, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have running for U.S. Congress on the Republican side, Gabby Grossbard, and please forgive me if I'm ruining your name. I just met Gabby today. He's a great guy. Okay. Then are we missing any other candidates that just walked in the room that I don't know? Please stand up and so I can shout your name. No, we got Kyra. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I need y'all to sit down with the Joannes. Thank you. So, all right, so I didn't see any other candidates. I do want to recognize any of our local elected officials we have here. I saw Councilwoman Melanie Rutherford here. Do we have any other elected officials here? I don't want to slight anybody, so who you pointing at? We had a great Dave Woodward, our Oakland County Chairman of the County Commission. Dave Woodward in the audience. Dave gave me my first $20 to run for office, so I got to always make sure I give Dave a plug. All right, the next person that couldn't be here today, but send her warmest regards, was our County Commissioner, Angela Powell. And we also have State Senator, Mr. Jeremy Moss, that sent his regards but couldn't be here today. So we do want to clap for them. But now we're going to bring up some people who have checked in early already today. And so we have the candidates. Do we have Miss Brenda Carter here? Can I have Miss Brenda Carter come to the stage if she's here? You on this side. Come on out. I'm looking for you on the other side. Come on, Miss Carter, you got 3 minutes to introduce yourself.
Okay, I have to do this my way. Good evening, Pontiac! Good evening, Democrats! Let's get excited! Let's cheer! For those of you who don't know me, I'm State Representative Brenda Carter. I represent the amazing communities of Auburn Hills, Kegel Harbor, Sylvan Lake, Orchard Lake Village, and of course, my community, Pontiac. We are here tonight because we're fighting for our rights, our values. What do we value? We value equitable education for all children in Michigan. Yes, we want all of our children educated. We value a decent pay wage. We want to make sure that everybody has an equitable wage. But most importantly, what we recognize and what we value is democratic values. Democratic values. And right now, our values are under siege. Right now, we have people who want to silence our vote. And our vote is very important. So I thank the very organizations that came to head Oakland Forward, all the organizations that brought you here tonight, because you need to know Democrats are fighting for you. We're fighting for you. We're on the battlefield for you. My agenda has been out there for the last 3 years, last 4 years. You know it. When they started talking about critical race theory, I fought against it. When they started talking about strict discipline academies, I fought against it. When they was talking about one fair wage, I supported it. So I join you tonight. I encourage you. Right now it appears, Mr. Williams, that I am the candidate, the Democratic candidate for House District 53. And as they say in Yanktown, we don't back down. I'm here to show up and show out. You ain't seen nothing yet. My last term in the House of Representatives is gonna be my best. So Kermit, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, State Rep Carter, and thank you for staying the 3 minutes. She goes to my church, so I know she can go. The next, without further ado, we want to bring up State Representative Kara Bolden, and she's going to tell you about what she's doing next.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is great to be amongst friends, isn't it? Yes. Well, I am State Representative Kyra Harris Bolden, and I represent Michigan's 35th House District, which are the communities of Southfield, Lathrop Village, Beverly Hills, Bingham Farms, and Franklin. But I am proud to share with you that I am the democratically endorsed candidate for Michigan Supreme Court. And I know some of you know me as a state representative, and it's been the honor of my life serving the community, especially alongside some of my colleagues that are in the room, Brenda Carter and Jim Ellison, great mentors of mine. But many people don't know that I got my start as a criminal defense attorney in 46th District Court. Many people don't know that I was a judicial law clerk to the longest serving judge in the state of Michigan, Judge John A. Murphy in Wayne County 3rd Circuit Court. Many people don't know that I worked for the wonderful law firm as Lewis and Monday as a civil litigator before I ran for office successfully in 2018. I've served on the Judiciary Committee since my first term. I fought for criminal justice reform, gotten 4 bills passed into law. I have such a deep respect for the law, and I have been lucky to see the depth and breadth of the law in my many facets of practicing and serving as a state representative. And now I want to represent every single Michigander on the Michigan Supreme Court because I believe in equal justice for all. And I want liberty and justice for all to mean something to every single Michigander. And with your help, we will make that a reality. And I can promise you that I will be a justice for generations. Because you see, my friends, when the Michigan Supreme Court makes a ruling, makes a decision, it doesn't just affect the Michiganders of today. It affects our children and our children's children and generations to come. And I'm happy to bring that perspective to the Michigan Supreme Court and protect justice for generations. So I am Kyra Harris Bolden, and I am happy to be running alongside Justice Bernstein in this fight for justice, and I hope that you will support us. Thank you so much for giving me time to speak.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. So the next person, if you came up today, you saw a big truck outside with the name of our next candidate, which is Matthew Dean Otter. He's running on the Republican side. Come on, let's give it up for Matthew.
Thank you. Good evening, and I'm thank you for having me here tonight. And I really want to thank Oakland Forward. I want to thank Pontiac Community Foundation for hosting this event and allowing us all to be here and for me to introduce myself. My name is Matthew Donater, and I am a conservative candidate running for Michigan's 11th district. I'm a Republican, but I've never been defined simply by a party affiliation, but rather my values and my character. Just like the values of this community that we all share. I'm a Christian, I'm a businessman, I'm an outsider, I'm a real estate agent, and I've been in the medical industry for over 21 years. Southeast Michigan has been home to me and my beautiful wife, Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. And our daughter, Violet, who's 5 years old, and she just started kindergarten. Yeah. I'm running for office, honestly, was never in my plans. This wasn't something I expected to do. But I'm not a politician, but I finally felt that it was time. But I believe in America. I believe in Michigan, and I believe that we can do better. We are at a pivotal time in our nation. We are being crushed by inflation, and Washington simply doesn't care. We have a crumbling infrastructure, and Washington gives us crumbs. Americans are tired of crushing our jobs, cutting parents out of our kids' education, and increasing inflation. I'm running to be your voice. Washington is overwhelmed with political servants, but what we need are political servants, not political something else, I forget, but I'm not a beholden to the anything or anyone other than the constituents of this district. Right now, the current administration is failing us, and Congress has been derelict in their duties of the American people. You probably don't know this, but we are at war for the future of America. And at one time, we were at a most pivotal time in this generation. Yet a time where we need to have the full attention of our elected officials. Our members of Congress are absent, many of them with their offices shut down, skipping votes and even giving their votes to other members of Congress. We could do better. We have a supply chain crisis and an inflation crisis, an economic crisis, and a border crisis. But our current politicians across the political spectrum won't lift a finger to enact change. Inflation is costing Michiganders $400 a month. That's what it's costing you per month from what it was compared to last year. That's what inflation is doing to you, whether you feel it or not. It's just the tip of the iceberg. You're paying for it at the pump. Gas prices are up. Groceries are up. You're paying it everywhere you go for anything from appliances to vehicles. And add insult to injury, our representatives in the majority right now are pushing for a job-killing legislation called AB 5 out of California. They're calling for the nationalization of this. What it would do is end 1099s. It would end independent operators. But who it specifically attacks is our truck drivers. And why is this important? You're probably like, why does this have to do with me? But this is how you get everything. This would lead to the cost of freight transportation going up by 40%. So everything that you have will go up by 40% with the cost of transportation. And who's going to pay for it? You, the consumer. In short, small businesses will go out of business for the business that are independent operators. They would be put out of business. 95% of our supply chain is actually touched by independent operators. Did you realize that $8 billion in revenue is moved in our supply chain daily? That's what it would cost the economy if you start messing with the supply chain. There's over 400,000 independent operators that are actually truck drivers, and the majority of those are minorities. So this is the problem. These are the truckers that haul your produce and your groceries to the grocery store. All your groceries and all your frozen foods are done by independent operators, and I want you to know that because that's going to be a problem if all of a sudden this AB 5 were to be nationalized. This is a dangerous policy, and AB 5 will further damage our supply chain and drive inflation even higher. This isn't the freedom and the liberty that the generations before us have fought to preserve. Passing this legislation would be called catastrophic. That's what it was called by the shippers for the American economy. Yet this week, one of our Democrats running for the 11th district said on air that they support the nationalization of AB 5. They want to, saying that the supply chain is too broke to be fixed and it needs to be rebuilt. The problem with that is it's not possible, and definitely not possible when we are in a crisis. We are in a crisis of inflation, and this will only further that. So I call that insanity. At a time when gas prices and energy prices are at the forefront of all of our minds, my opponents are fighting to shut down pipelines and roadblock our energy independence. My campaign is going to be focused on energy independence and manufacturing independence. We need to start making things again in America, and I want to do that through trade. Trade is very important because that also will help lower the cost of education. At a time when parents are concerned about the future of our children, our legislators are siding with bureaucrats and school boards, ignoring parents. We have an opportunity on a federal level now to stand with our parents by supporting H.R. 6056, the Parents' Rights Bill Act. Yet those on this stage who are currently in Congress won't support this legislation that ensures that parents have the influence and transparency they deserve. It would clarify their right to know what is being taught. It would clarify and that they would let their voices be heard, but also they would know the school budgets. Wouldn't it be nice to know where your money's going? To protect their child's privacy and keep their children safe. Yet instead, they are pushing far-left gender and sexual theory to grade school children, 5-year-olds. The people of the 11th District will not stand for this any longer. Our families don't want the police to be defunded. They want accountability and police force dedicated and funded to serve and protect. Yet my opponents won't even suggest or support the Justice Act, simply because a Republican introduced it, and that's a fact. We need real leadership, servant leadership. We need leaders to stand up against their party, even against their president, if necessary, against anyone who does not have the best interest of you, the constituents, in mind. I look forward to working every day to earn your vote. Talk to me, because I will listen to you. I mean, I will. So there's no corner in this district that I won't go, and that's why I'm here today to prove that. I will meet you with you anywhere and anytime to talk about what we can do for Oakland County. I'm Matthew Donater. I'm your Republican candidate for U.S. Congress, and I'm grateful and thankful that you let me speak here tonight in front of you. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Thank you again. Thank you again. Let's give it up for Matthew Donater again. All right, we're about to bring on our moderators, but I heard at the end of Mr. Donater's remarks some people not being respectful. So everybody say, let's be respectful. Let's be respectful. All right, we're in Pontiac now. We act like civilized folks. So it gives me great honor to bring up our moderators. The first one that I'm going to call to the stage is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world, Mr. Scott Stewart. Let's give it up for Scott. Scott works for the Pontiac Community Foundation. He is a proud Chippewa from Central Michigan University. Go Chips. All right, let's give it up again for Scott Stewart. All right, the next person that I'm going to bring up is one of the best and most sincere reporters in the state of Michigan. I'm going to bring up one of my favorites, Crystal Proximire of Oakland County Times, also known as Oakland County 115. You can do better than that. Shameless plug, if you have not downloaded the Oakland County Times, you need to do that today. And she does great ads also. And she likes White Castle. So make sure y'all definitely come on out and support All right, the last person we're going to bring up is the youngest council person in Pontiac history. He took that title from me, I believe. We're going to bring up Mikhail Goodman, Councilman Mikhail Goodman from Oakland Forward. So, without further ado, we are going to bring up the main event for this evening. I need everybody to stand to their feet and recognize Congresswoman Haley Stevens, and Congressman Andy Levin.
All right, well, that was fun. Thank you all, audience. All right, we just wanted to jumpstart with a few rules to the debate and start with that. So we wanted to note that each candidate will have introductory remarks that will be about 3 minutes each. Representative Stevens will start that. And then we will move into a section for general questions, and that will be 3 general questions. You will both get the same question, and that will be 1 minute for responses. We will then move into a section for individual questions where you each will get different questions, and that will be 2 minutes allotted for those responses. You also have, throughout the debate, 3 rebuttal opportunities, and so please let us know if you would like to do that. You will have 1 minute for rebuttals. And then we will start to accept audience questions. We'll go through about 5 of those, and you'll have about 1 minute for those. I will remind you all of these rules. I know that's a lot of numbers. We will then go into candidate closing remarks, and you'll have 3 minutes each, and Congressman Levin will do that as well, start that. Hannah, right here in the audience, in the very front row. Please watch her. We would put her up here, but you all would have a hard time seeing her. So she will be keeping time. She'll give you a 30-second mark and then a final mark. Great? You still do it. Okay. If you have a question and you have your pink index card, please make sure to raise your hand. People are now in the room for you to collect those. And they will come around to that. If you at any time need one, please feel free to raise your hand or do whatever, and the team will get out there. All right. Well, let's get started. Great. So to start for both of you, please, Representative Stevens, feel free to go.
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Well, good evening. I'm Congresswoman Haley Stevens, and it is a real delight to be at the Strand Theater on Saginaw Street with all of you. Thank you to Alex Resnick and his incredible team for all you do with the Strand Theater and throughout Pontiac. Thank you to Oakland Forward and the Pontiac Community Foundation, not only for hosting tonight's debate, but also for promoting an equitable society for everyone to succeed. Again, I am Congresswoman Haley Stevens, proudly representing Michigan's 11th District, a seat that we flipped from red to blue in 2018, and we flipped that seat campaigning on our democratic values, raising the wage, paid family leave, affordable, accessible health care for everyone, a plan for public education. This is my story. I was a campaign kid from Michigan who worked to elect Barack Obama to the White House. I stood before his administration asking, what can I do for Michigan? I put up my hand. I got asked to serve on his auto rescue team, the initiative responsible for saving General Motors and Chrysler and 200,000 Michigan jobs. That was the Main Street initiative of his administration, and it put people at the forefront. Fast forward to 2018, that very president came to Michigan to campaign for me while we made history electing the first Democrat to this seat since before the moon landing. And standing up there on that stage was Pontiac's current Congresswoman, Brenda Lawrence. I am now running for re-election in the new Michigan's 11th district that finally, at long last, includes Pontiac and is the Oakland County seat. And I'm going to tell you all, I am running to be a champion for this district and for this community. I am running to be a bridge builder between Pontiac and Congress, to work alongside the incredible new mayor, Tim Greimel, and this remarkable city council, getting things done for people like I always have. I stood with Brenda Lawrence in this very city to receive her endorsement, but also to listen to her and to learn from her, showing up and doing the work when times are tough, when times are good, rolling up our sleeves to deliver for people. That is what this moment calls for, my friends. Thank you all so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you. Congressman Levin, 3 minutes.
Well, thanks so much. Thanks to Oakland Forward and the Pontiac Community Foundation for organizing this. I want to acknowledge my sweetheart, my wife, Mary Freeman, who's here, and my dad, Congressman Sandy Levin, who's here. 90 years old and going strong. So I cherish this opportunity to get to know more and more people in Pontiac and more people throughout this new 11th district. First of all, before I started in Congress, I ran a small business to help other small businesses and nonprofits get financing for renewable energy and clean energy projects. And you are sitting in a beneficiary of that program. The Strand used the financing to refinance the clean energy makeovers they had made, and that helped save the Strand Theater during the pandemic. So let's hear it for the Strand Theater. Another thing about me that I'm not shy to share is that I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, and I'm really happy to be up here. I thank God every day I'm here cancer-free up here. And also, 2 of Mary's and my kids have chronic medical conditions. And what these things have meant in my life is I have spent, and we have spent, so many hours fighting with insurance companies over outrageous medical bills. And when Donald Trump came to Washington and threatened to take away Americans' health care, when I had the chance to run for Congress, I said, no way, we're going to fight for health care for every person in this country, for Medicare for all. And I ran for Congress. And look, we've made some progress, but we haven't done nearly enough. Even with Democratic control of Congress, even with the ACA expansion and Medicaid expansion in Michigan, 15% of Pontiac residents have no health insurance. They are uninsured. That is completely unacceptable, and I'm going to continue to fight until everyone in this country is insured, from the day they're born to the day they die. Not only that, I'll take on Big Pharma and fight for affordable prescription drugs for everybody. As the union organizer of the Congress, I'll take on corporate interests so that every person in America has the freedom to form unions and bargain collectively. And look, I'm really excited by the support we've built in Pontiac. I've seen, my kids are the 5th generation of my family to live in this new district. I've seen the deindustrialization and the structural racism that have affected Pontiac. We can create so much more of a beautiful future for Pontiac in this whole new district. I'm super proud of the momentum we've built, the support of Mayor Tim Greimel, the support of Maddie Hatchett, the support of Gil Garrett, and so many others, and I'd love your support as well. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you both for your introductory remarks. We will now start on the general Q&A. As a reminder, this will be for both of you, so you'll both have an opportunity to answer. And it will be 3 questions, 1 minute for each question. I will get started, and we'll start with Congresswoman Stevens. Looking ahead, 30 or 40 years from now, what do you want your legacy as a leader to be?
Well, certainly in my late 60s, I'm thinking about a legacy that has delivered for people, that has championed the needs of young people. I want to look throughout Michigan's 11th district into a park that we help receive funding for, a school that we help rebuild, students who had teachers that we help recruit there, jobs that we helped create because we championed the industries of the future. We are working on those innovation packages in Congress today. That is the question I ask my colleagues. What is our moonshot of the next 50 years? It is coming from the place we call home. Autonomous vehicles, electric vehicle technology. We are transforming the world from Michigan.
I'll repeat just for ease.
Yeah, so I would say 2 things. I would say, 1, this is a person who helped rebuild trust in government by always being honest, by always acting with integrity, and by always doing the right thing, no matter what. Not doing what's politically convenient, but doing what's right. And secondly, this is a person who built bridges to reinvigorate the chance for the American dream for everybody, to build truly a multiracial coalition of working people, to tackle the low wages that we face, to tackle health care that people don't have, to make sure our neighborhoods are safe. You know, we can do so much more. This is such a difficult moment in our country. We face so many challenges. But we are just one great election away from making transformative changes that will build the beautiful society we all know is possible. And I'm here to stand and fight for it. Thanks.
All right, so I am next. So I get the chance to ask my favorite question. What issues keep you up at night? And again, we will start with Congresswoman Haley Stevens.
So look, costs are through the roof. We're going to the grocery store, we're paying astronomical. We see the rise in costs of prescription drugs, we see the rise in cost of higher education, and I am wondering night in and night out how people are going to succeed, how they're going to access health care, how they're going to provide a good life for their kids, and how they're going to even take care of their aging parents. And folks, you heard the Republican here in his 3-minute address. He wants to campaign on those rising costs. He doesn't have a plan. The Republicans do not have a plan. The Democrats, like myself, we've got the lowering costs of prescription drugs bill. We've got a bill that I helped lead in the last Congress to tackle daycare costs, lowering the cost of higher education, and on. That is what keeps me up at night. I want to get that agenda done for us. Thank you.
So right now, I would say 3 things in 1 minute, so they'll be quick. First of all, Ukraine. The United States has to do everything we can to get the weapons and the military help that they need, fighting so bravely to maintain their territorial integrity. Secondly, and also humanitarian aid and also the sanctions, but maybe we'll talk more about that. The second thing is climate change. We are not doing nearly enough, fast enough, and I hope we'll talk more about that. And the third thing is the structural racism that is tearing apart this country. I mean, the execution of Patrick Lyoya in Grand Rapids. You know, I've watched all these videos. I decided I'm not watching this video. I don't need to watch this video. We've seen the reporting. This was a person who was stopped for a small thing. He was obviously afraid. He was obviously confused. There was no need to take that man down and execute him by shooting him in the back of the head. Thank you.
So this will be our last question for both candidates. I think we're going back and forth, so Andy Levin to go first. What is your biggest regret as an elected official?
So I think that my biggest regret is also my biggest hope. Who remembers the book, What's the Matter with Kansas? For a long time, we have failed to get people to vote in their economic interests, and we're still not there yet. And it's a problem. It's threatening our democracy, and it's a problem for all of us. But I feel that's why I'm so intent on winning this campaign and on serving in Congress, because we can do this. If we have a bold, progressive agenda that includes Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, the Raise the Wage Act, the PRO Act, all these things that we know we could do, we can get people to vote in their economic interests, and then we can achieve decades of progress for this country, just like they did in FDR's time, just like they did in LBJ's time. Don't say we can't do it, because we're going to. Thank you.
Congressman Stevens?
Look, I'm in my second term in Congress, and I was there on January 6, 2021, watching our Capitol being overtaken by insurrectionists. And in July of 2020, I wrote a statement into the House record because I saw what was happening. Division, tension. We've got to make sure that we're on the same page about democracy. I wrote that statement of the record saying, join me in promoting a peaceful transition after this election. I tried to bring it at attention. How are we going to get the voting rights bills done that are so long overdue? How are we going to restore our democracy? How are we going to bring our government into the 21st century? Again, this is what the moment calls for. This is why I want that third term in Congress, because I want to usher in that reform agenda for the American democracy. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you both. We will now move into the individual questions section. As a reminder, you'll each get about 5 questions, and you have a 2-minute response time. But remember that you have 3 rebuttals as well, so just let us know if you'd like to rebut. Great. We'll get started with Congressman Levin. The pandemic has been incredibly difficult on our students during these last few school years. As students return to in-person learning and also face incredible isolation, we are seeing an increase in the need for mental health services for our K-12 population. What programs or legislation have you worked on or plan to work on that will help mitigate some of these issues?
Yeah, so, I stand before you as not only the son of and nephew of people that you've heard about, but also as the son of Vicki Levin, a psychiatric social worker who made children's mental health her life commitment. And this has been a central issue in my life. We have an epidemic of mental health problems in our society, in our schools. And the first thing I just have to say is if we and when we pass Medicare for all, mental health will be treated with parity and it will be fully covered for everyone, and we won't have this issue. Specifically, I joined a letter led by Lauren Underwood, our colleague, and we got a significant amount of funding for mental health in our schools, really the largest infusion of funding that we've ever accomplished for mental health in our schools. The real problem here is inequity in funding in education. Part of that is our long-standing problems in Michigan, but we have to stand up and do something more about it in Congress. I think we need to emphasize 3 areas where we help with funding. One is kids with emotional needs and disabilities. The second is English language learners. And the third is poor kids. And if we step up and fully fund our obligations in Congress, we will really help the mental health situation in our schools. Get those nurses, get those psychologists fully. And finally, I'm a huge backer of having health centers in schools. We have seen that be really successful in Michigan. And we can really spread those throughout the state so that all of our school districts have them, and kids can walk right in and get therapy appointments right in their school system. Thanks.
Well, look, this is the fire burning in my belly.
I don't want to interrupt. So these questions they go to one or the other.
Okay, sorry.
So you
I'm
have a different
passionate about
question.
mental health, but yes, understood. Yeah.
So also, you do have the opportunity to use rebuttal if you want to speak on the specific one,
Okay,
or
I
you can
see.
hold it off for later.
I see. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So we are staying in the same vein of education. The question that I have for you, Congresswoman Stevens, is what do you believe is the answer to making education, both K-12 and post-secondary, available to as many Americans as possible?
Well, first and foremost, we've got to get rid of Betsy DeVos policies that continue to haunt our public education system. We know this all too well in Michigan, and we know that DeVos family is trying to put forward a ballot initiative right now to siphon out resources in our public schools. And speaking of which, it is an absolute outcry that Michigan has the lowest levels of guidance counselors per student of any state in the union. This is a wake-up call for what happened in Oxford. It is a wake-up call for what is happened post-pandemic, and the time is now to invest in our educators. The time is now to advocate for the full funding of special education, something that I am championing. As a member of the Education and Labor Committee, I kicked off 2020 saying, I'm going to make this whole year about getting funding into our schools and getting that special education resources into our schools. Well, 2020 took a different turn, but it was a wake-up call for us. And I'll say this. We've got to be investing in youth opportunity. We are in the glorious city of Pontiac. This is everywhere throughout this city. This is why I am so eager to partner with the Webster Community Center that's going to provide those youth recreation opportunities, apprenticeships, earn and learns, opportunities for our future. This is all before us, but we've got to reinvest in our schools and those programs. Thank you.
Did you want to use your rebuttal for this one?
Was this about K-12 and higher ed?
Yes. Would you like to use your rebuttal or no?
No, I'll wait. I'll have another opportunity.
Okay, so this question is for you, Andy Levin. How have you gone above and beyond to be an advocate for women, and specifically for women of color?
Yeah, so it's such an important question. So I started out my life after college as a union organizer, and I didn't just choose to organize any workers. I chose nursing home workers, and I helped thousands of workers in nursing homes, overwhelmingly women and disproportionately women of color, get more power and better wages and better benefits by joining SEIU. And I devoted my life to that. Secondly, when we were reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act, I listened to survivors of sexual assault. I found a way that we could improve the treatment of women who are bravely prosecuting their cases and survivors, and I got an amendment into the Violence Against Women Act to help prosecutors do a better job, and it passed the House of Representatives. I'm the author, and look, we face the greatest threat to reproductive rights in our lifetimes, and we have to take this on. And so I introduced the first ever resolution in the history of the U.S. Congress to honor abortion providers' Recognition Day, which is a day honoring David Gunn, who was murdered in his abortion clinic. And we introduced that in the House. I was really honored that Senator Mazie Hirono introduced it in the Senate. Roll up your sleeves, friends, because we are in for the fight of our lives. We've got to get this ballot measure on. We've got to get our proposal on the ballot to protect reproductive rights, put it right in our Constitution so nobody can mess with it. Thank you.
Would you like to rebut?
Look, let me just say this. Less than 500 women have ever served in the halls of Congress. I am the first woman to ever represent Michigan's 11th district. We know what this pandemic did to working women. It chased them out of the workplace. I have started a program called Women Own Wednesdays, where I go and I meet women in the workplace, I meet women small business owners, and I learn about the intersectionality of the issues before them. I have been a champion for raising the wage because we know that it is single women of color who are stuck in low-wage jobs all too often. And that needs to end by bringing it up to $15 or beyond. And let me be very clear. They are attacking women's rights. They are coming for men. And I will not stand for 9 Supreme Court justices or just the 5 who are going to vote against it. Abortion is a human right, and we will stand up to defend it. And I am the one for Michigan's 11th district to get that done for us. Thank you.
All right, Congressman Levin. Accessible, affordable, and connected transit is still a significant issue for the region. How have you been engaging with this issue, and what types of initiatives will you propose moving forward to improve the system?
So you asked me the last question and she rebutted, or do I have this wrong?
I'm sorry.
That is correct.
Yeah, so are you trying to
Sorry.
go in your...
I will go to Haley, thank you.
Either way, I'm happy, I love that question, but I'm just trying to keep on the system.
And I can repeat it. Thank you for reminding, yes. I
No
was like,
problem.
the rebuttal. So accessible, affordable, and connected transit is still a significant issue for the region. How have you been engaging with this issue, and what type of initiatives will you propose moving forward to improve the system?
Well, look, folks, if you haven't heard, we got an infrastructure bill done. Largest investment ever in public transportation in our nation's history. Thank you, President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris and our Democratic House majority. I want to make sure those dollars get to Michigan. I want to make sure that we have an all-county-wide opt-in system so we don't see little opting out here and there, so you can take the bus from Pontiac to Auburn Hills to school, to work, to whatever you want to do. We are going to succeed because we have public transportation seething through our region. And this is why I started my campaign out doing the listening, towns tour. Here's what's on people's minds: housing and transportation, transportation and housing. I took a regional transit tour. The Congresswoman took the bus, and I did it experiencing the Wi-Fi, the ridership issues, and on. This is highly important to our region. Yes, we're excited about the electric vehicles. We want to make sure those charging dollars get here as well, but transportation is mission critical. It is complicated. We can get it done, and I am the one to do it for this region. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I'll take my rebuttal. So first of all, I just want to set the record straight on the Raise the Wage Act. I was a whip for the Raise the Wage Act, and my colleague, Congresswoman Stevens, voted for 2 Republican amendments that essentially were poison pills and would have killed the bill in our committee. It's the only time we actually had to stop the committee because the chairman wasn't sure we could defeat the Republican amendments, and we went in our little anteroom to count noses to make sure we had enough Democratic votes to defeat these Republican amendments. Secondly, I was totally for the infrastructure bill, voted for it. I was solidly for it. It is not a climate change bill. It's carbon negative, or it makes the carbon situation worse. We fought super hard in the Progressive Caucus not to pass the infrastructure bill until we had a really strong Build Back Better Act, which included $550 billion for climate change legislation. And I will not give up until we not only have transit, but that we have electrified transit, like in my Build Green Act, one of the Green New Deal bills that I authored with Senator Elizabeth Warren. Thank you.
All right, so now on to the next question for Congressman Levin. Pontiac has historically been underrepresented. Why are you interested in this community, and what do you see as its greatest strengths?
Well, you know, probably the biggest opportunity of the new 11th district is to represent Pontiac. And the new 11th district is actually much more similar to the current district I represent than the current 11th district in terms of demographics, in terms of diversity, in terms of poorer communities, a mix of communities of color. And I'm really excited to bring the work I've done in my current district to the new 11th district, and Pontiac specifically. Let me make a little announcement here. When I'm elected as the new representative of the new 11th district, my district headquarters will be in downtown Pontiac, Michigan. Because I believe in walking the walk, and I want people from the community to be able to walk in and visit and bring their case and have and us take care of their needs. And you know, I don't really believe in situations where we have policy debates and people say, well, we need to treat everyone equally. Some people say, well, we need a colorblind approach. I don't believe in that. We don't need equality when things are so unequal now. We need equity. And so we have to focus on places like Pontiac. And I see the greatest opportunity, Mikkel, of being in this, you know, in this new district to lift up the city of Pontiac, to lift up Arroyo Oak Township, to lift up the places that have been most neglected, and to create economic justice, an economy from the bottom up, not trickle down. Let's put Trump and Trumpism way behind us and have big visions about how we can have a just society with Pontiac leading the way.
I would like to use another rebuttal because I'm fired up about Pontiac, and tonight marks my 21st campaign stop to the city of Pontiac, and folks, we are just getting started. I am showing you exactly how I am going to govern, by showing up, by being of the community, and being accessible. Pontiac is a city of love. And if our greatest power is to show love, to receive love, and to be love, that is my commitment to you. A bearing of my heart, a bearing of my soul. And let me set a record straight, because Republican attacks that Stevens doesn't support the minimum wage do not have any bearing on this stage. You can look up my voting record. I have co-sponsored this bill twice. I have voted for it. I don't believe in any poison pills. I believe in delivering for people all across Michigan's 11th district. Thank you.
So, Congressperson Stevens, this one is for you. With over 50 million Americans either uninsured or underinsured and a large amount of medical debt and bankruptcies, what have you been doing to address the medical needs and debt of the American people?
Well, first and foremost, we've got to build off of the success that I witnessed when I was an appointee in the Obama administration, the Affordable Care Act. We have received in Michigan a lowering of our uninsured rate. We absolutely have to tackle the rising cost of prescription drugs. I go to all of our senior centers. This is something very real and palpable here in Pontiac, here across Oakland County, which is that people are afraid to go to the pharmacy because of the rising cost of prescription drugs. I am a co-sponsor of the Elijah Cummings prescription drug bill. I am also a proud voter of lowering our insulin costs to $35, something that has already passed the House of Representatives. And I am in the Black Maternal Health Caucus, started by my friend Congresswoman Lauren Underwood, to bring equity to our healthcare system, to make sure that women are being listened to, and particularly women of color. Thank you.
Would you like to rebut?
Yes. So we're both in the Maternal Women's Health Caucus. We're both for the Elijah Cummings Act. But when we had a progressive piece of legislation to robustly negotiate the price of prescription drugs, my opponent wrote to constituents to say that it was not a good idea. And broadly negotiating the price of prescription drugs would threaten innovation. I beg to differ. I think we ought to negotiate the price of all prescription drugs and have them affordable. Why should Americans pay 2 and 3 and 5 times more than others? And secondly, in terms of this issue, there's just a huge difference here. I believe in universal health care for everyone so that everybody has insurance. And we've got to tackle this and end this situation where our country, the richest country in the world, is the only one where everybody doesn't have health care. We pay twice as much as other countries, and we are way down in the middle of the pack on outcomes. Let's change the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Levin. With the rise of recent homicides, we're seeing a critical need to invest in gun reform. What are some actions you have taken to tackle this issue? Yeah,
so I've been super active on this. Literally the first thing I did when I got in in Congress was to join the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force. I am not only an original co-sponsor of the bills that we've passed through the House, but I authored an amendment that's included in the bill to close the Charleston loophole to require study of the impact of changes. One of the things the Republicans have done is try to kill all study of gun violence and the effects of gun violence and policies. But I've gone beyond that. I am the author of the Protect Children Through Safe Gun Ownership Act. After Oxford, I said, this is just outrageous. We have to do more. And I partnered with Brady and Giffords and Everytown and people in the community and the NEA and the AFT to create a bill that would keep our kids safe by reducing access to guns, unsafe access to guns. For example, I mean, it has three basic things in it. The first one is you can't give kids handguns unless you supervise them or you have another adult supervise them. It's such common sense. The second thing is you got to store guns safely, and if you don't, there's a private right of action if someone's hurt or killed. And the third thing is, and the reason the teachers' unions are on there, is that we're going to give grants to our school systems to help them educate their kids and their parents on gun safety. You know, my heart goes out to the community here over the senseless shooting of Uriah Jackson, who was 7 years old, trying to go home from school and killed in a drive-by shooting. This is an epidemic of public health that we have to take on, and I'm going to fight to end the epidemic of gun violence until we succeed. Thank you.
All right, and due to a mistake on our behalf, I will be asking two questions in a row. So the first question that will be coming up is for Congresswoman Haley Stevens. With the decades-long decline and erosion of unions and labor protections, what have you done to foster what many would consider to be a needed rebound in favor of the average worker and organized labor?
Well, look, I'll tell you all, when I was campaigning as a Democrat to flip a seat from red to blue, I campaigned on a 21st century labor movement. I am a millennial who is very acutely aware that we are in a moment where labor is gotta be at the forefront of our political agenda and our policy agenda and our governing agenda. This is why when I got to Congress, I said, put me on the Education and Labor Committee. Put me on the committee so I can stand up for people's pensions. Put me on the committee so that I can continue to expand our unionized workforce. Put me on the committee so I can be an original co-sponsor of the PRO Act. We just saw this in a pandemic. What has taken place, the need for a workforce protections that are obviously impacting people's day-to-day work. We're seeing this rise up all throughout southeastern Michigan. This is a part of my legislative agenda. I am so proud to have the most local labor endorsements in this race. You'll be seeing the signs up. And we're going to be getting up there. And a little news flash to all you guys, the Republican who was on the stage talking about a California piece of legislation that you might not have heard about, he is talking about anti-union policy that will not stand in Michigan's 11th district, and I will not stand for it. Thank you so much.
All right. And to the next question.
So
you want to use a rebuttal?
I'll take a rebuttal.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I appreciate Congresswoman Stevens' enthusiasm for the issue. I am the union organizer in the Congress. I've devoted my life to helping workers gain voice and power in this society. 5 years as an organizer with SEIU, 11 years as the Assistant Director of Organizing of the National AFL-CIO. 13 national unions have endorsed in this race. They've all endorsed me, and their local membership swamps the other local membership that have endorsed my opponent. And but really, it's not. You can't just go there and be for legislation. There's hardly a month that goes by when I'm not involved in a campaign of workers to fight for their right organizing and bargaining rights. Whether it's when the UAW was on strike at GM, and I organized a 300-person action there, to Harvard grad employees when I got all the Harvard alums in the Congress to take on President Bacow, and they got a first contract, to right now, our own staff came to one person to introduce the resolution to give them the fundamental right to form unions. They came to Andy Levin. Thank you. And we're going to get it done, by the way. We're going to get it done.
All right, and to the next question for Congressman Andy Levin. What have you done since you have been in office to address the impacts of environmental racism, especially in poor and BIPOC communities?
Absolutely. So I have done a lot of specific things on this, like, for example, both the previous president, Boo, and the current president, Ye, signed legislation that I authored to prevent harmful incineration of PFAS chemicals. I also authored legislation to protect the drinking water and the grounds of public schools from PFAS contamination and so forth. But I want to say something big about this that I'm not sure people understand. The Green New Deal isn't just about acting as fast as we possibly can to save life on Earth as we know it on this planet, but it's equally and fully about tackling environmental racism. So every bill that I write includes this. So in my EV Freedom Act, 40% of all the resources have to go to communities of color and poor communities. In my Build Green Act with Senator Elizabeth Warren, which is the biggest investment in mass transit in modern times, and it's about electrifying transit and rail and city fleets and so forth, that includes also the requirement that 40% of resources go to frontline communities and communities of color. By the way, all this legislation also includes Buy American, prevailing wage, and neutrality when workers want to form unions. So there's really a huge difference here on these issues. There are 27 senators and representatives who have backed all 10 Green New Deal bills. I'm one of them. My opponent hasn't backed any of them, and I'm the author of one of them and additional legislation to tackle these issues, including the EV Freedom Act and the American Energy Workers Opportunity Act. So this is crucial to me, and we've got to center Pontiac and communities like it when we create great jobs to tackle this huge dilemma that we face of overheating our planet. Thank you.
Did you want to rebut that one?
So you do have one left.
I have one left. I'm eager to save it.
You can
But
always save it,
why don't we
yes.
do it? Why don't we do a time check? Yeah, or just where we are in the process.
It's 7:16, so we got quite a bit of time.
Yeah,
on
we got
audience
some more
questions.
time. So we'll weave
I think
that
she
in.
means how many, we're each doing 5 of these, right?
Yeah.
About, yeah.
So in
Well,
fairness,
we're
I think
about-
she wants to know how many questions we each have left, right, Haley?
On our last question for this part, and then we're going to go to the pink cards, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with you for this one. The political divide across party lines continues to grow and hinders progress both locally and nationally. Can you talk about your efforts to pass bipartisan legislation and or your work with local stakeholders across different political affiliations?
Sure. Well, I'll tell you very excitingly, before we returned home for this in-district work period, I received a call from the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, asking me to serve on the Select Committee to get the American Competes Act legislation done. The Select Committee, I'm going to tell you what this is because it's the best of government, all right? It is the House and Senate coming together to negotiate a bill. This is called a conference committee. And what we will get done in this legislation in a bipartisan way is the biggest bill ever for American innovation in our country's history. It will include STEM education, diversity, equity, and inclusion. It'll include the that funding for the chips that we're seeing all over the news and the reason why our used car sale prices are going through the roof and you can't get a new car and people are being left out of work. It includes my bill to double scientific research funding, something that I ushered through the Science Committee with both Democrat and Republican support. And it was the very reason I ran for Congress in the first place, because of the twice impeached president's attack on our science agenda. So I am so thrilled to be the person in this race on that conference committee, getting that historic piece of legislation done. I have already led parts of it through in a bipartisan way. Please feel free to engage with me throughout the process, because it's going to be a good one. Thank you.
Would you like to rebut?
Well, so to be more specific.
In fairness, I don't think I have any left.
So to be specific, so this one is not a rebuttal question. We didn't clarify very well. The very last one goes to both of you. That way you will both have answered 5 total at the end of it.
Okay.
Do you want me to reread
So
it?
this same question?
Yes, same exact question.
Okay, this is like the bipartisan one, right?
Yeah.
And
Do you want me to
okay.
reread it?
Okay, sure.
Okay. The political divide across party lines continues to grow and hinders progress both locally and nationally. Can you talk about your efforts to pass bipartisan legislation or your work with local stakeholders across different political affiliations?
Absolutely. Well, real quickly on the local stakeholder one, one huge example of this is the Chaldean community, which is Republican, Democratic, whatever. We had Donald Trump tried to mass deport Iraqi nationals who ever did anything wrong in this country. It was outrageous, and I partnered with the Chaldean community to try to stop it. I introduced bipartisan legislation with our good friend John Molinar. All the Michigan delegation has supported it, and we are not going to let them violate the rights of Iraqi-born people in this country. All right, bipartisan. I may be one of the very most progressive members of Congress, but I do a ton of bipartisan things. Real quickly, laws I've passed, the WIC Safety and Modernization Act with a Republican lead co-sponsor, so that WIC moms could have access to safe nutrition during the pandemic. And we have a follow-on bill to make permanent the reforms so they can have access. Secondly, my PFAS incineration bills were bipartisan. Thirdly, I passed legislation to work on preventing veteran suicides that passed the Congress that was also bipartisan. And I've also introduced a lot more bipartisan legislation. For example, my Best Ambassadors Act to bring transparencies. You know how these presidents put a lot of big donors as ambassadors? Like you want Switzerland, you want Belgium, you gave $20 million. No, let's have some transparency on that. My Stop Games Act to lower prescription drug prices and rush generic drugs to market. My Safe Workers Act to allow the workers to have union elections safely during the pandemic. And just last week, my Got Truckers Act. I did it with Van Drew, I'm sorry. Our turncoat. I had to find a Republican, and Jeff Van Drew, the dentist from New Jersey. Okay, anyway, he introduced it with me, and I'm telling you, we are going to end the exemption of truck drivers who don't get paid overtime, over-the-road truckers. We have a huge shortage of truckers, and so I'm really into rolling up my sleeves and getting a lot done in Congress. Bipartisan, thank you.
Thank you both. We can clap for that. So now we will move to the portion that is audience questions. You still have a rebuttal, so you can use that during this time as well. As a reminder, we will ask some audience questions. For the audience, if you have not submitted your questions yet, please do so. The people will be coming around. Raise your hand. We'd love some more. We'd love some more from you all. And I will start with 2 questions. You'll have a minute again for a response. And I will start with a question each for both of you, actually individually. So one for Haley, one for Andy. And so I will start with Representative Stevens. This card from the audience says, how do you explain taking money from an organization which is also giving money to support 37 people running for Congress who support the big lie that Trump won in 2020?
I have been endorsed by the American Israel Public Affairs Committee alongside all members of Democratic leadership, including Whip Jim Clyburn, Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. In addition to these leaders of the Democratic Party, 20 members of the House Progressive Caucus also received this endorsement, representing over a third of Democrats endorsed by AIPAC. This endorsement is solely about members of Congress supporting Israel, and I am proud to unequivocally support the Jewish state.
And this one will be for you, Representative Levin. What do you say to activists who gave up their weekends, evenings, and family time to remove David Trott from office in 2017? Against all odds, in a gerrymandered district, we mobilized to flip Michigan 11 from red to blue. Now, some of us feel a loyalty to the woman who we worked so hard for. Why should we vote for you?
Well, first of all, I say thank you. That was a very important thing to get done. And honestly, I'm very, very grateful. And I'm grateful to Representative Stevens for doing that. What I would say is that every 10 years we have redistricting. This is a brand new district. Nobody represents a majority of it. It's a mashup of the current 9th, 11th, and 14th districts. And I'd say just vote for who aligns with your values more. Do you want somebody from the New Democrat Caucus, which is more of a corporate Democratic caucus, which is, to me, not going to take on and doesn't take on the special interests on things like negotiation of prescription drugs? Or do you want to stand with the champion, the deputy whip of the Progressive Caucus? Do you want to stand with somebody who's for the Green New Deal or somebody who's against it? Just vote your convictions and your values, and you'll be all set. I mean, that's what I would say. And let me just say that the previous question was not about being endorsed. It was about taking money. And I don't believe any of the Democratic leadership or any of the Progressive Caucus members have taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from the organization that is fighting to keep Ronnie Jackson, Jim Jordan, and Scott Perry in the Congress.
Go ahead,
And
Rep.
I
Stevens.
say that as a Zionist.
A rebuttal for Rep. Stevens?
I would love to use my rebuttal in part because there's one member in this race who's been endorsed by End Citizens United, the organization trying to get dark money out of our politics, and that is me, Haley Stevens. That is something I campaigned on. That is something that I believe is poisoning our politics, and with all due respect to my colleague here, I think our voters have a right to know why you wouldn't run for Congress in a district in an open seat that doesn't have a Democrat running for it, that has 500,000 of your constituents, when we are trying to get voting rights done, protect women's health, and now we've got the twice defeated Senate candidate raising $1.5 million over there. We don't want that seat to go to a Republican. So that's my simple question to my colleague. Thank you.
So moving on from that one, this is a question that goes to the both of you. Will you work in Congress to shut down Line 5 and stop a tunnel in the Straits? Who had the first question? So then this question goes to you, Andy, first.
Okay, yes. Sorry. He didn't hear the question.
So the question again is, will you work in Congress to shut down Line 5 and stop a tunnel in our straits?
So the simple answer is yes, I will. I think at some point you just have to take a stand. And I am for a rapid transition to renewable energy. And I'd really hope my colleague will speak squarely to this straightforward question because it's really important. And then in the time I have left, let me just say, it's not up to politicians to choose their voters. It's up to the voters to choose their politicians. I'm running for re-election in Madison Heights and Hazel Park and Pleasant Ridge and Huntington Woods and Berkeley and Royal Oak over to Bloomfield Township. My house, I didn't move to run in this race. My house is dead center of this new district, and I'm super excited to be running in a district where my kids are the 5th generation of my family to live here, and I feel like we're going to win the 10th with a Macomb County person. We're going to win the new 3rd district with a great candidate that we have over there in Grand Rapids and Muskegon, and Michigan's going to do our part to maintain control of the U.S. House of Representatives, 100%.
And the same question goes to you, Congresswoman Stevens.
Could you repeat the question?
Absolutely. The question is, will you work in Congress to shut down Line 5 and stop a tunnel in our streets?
So let me be very clear. I will always choose the Great Lakes. I will always work alongside our governor to make sure that our Great Lakes are protected. That is absolute. I am investing in making sure that we can clean up our Great Lakes and prevent certainly a dangerous agent carp from coming in. And so I believe that we've got to work cross-functionally across our government, which is what I have done as a current member of this district, reaching out to all the mayors in the current 11th district, working with our state government and on. This is certainly not a matter, the line is not a matter before Congress. We need to support our governor, who has been very clear about it, and we need to stand for our Great Lakes. Thank you.
So we've got a question for both candidates. Are you concerned about the number of...
So this is an outcry. It's an outrage. Our incarceration challenge in the United States of America and the fact that black men are 5 times more likely to be incarcerated than white men. And in addition to speaking out about this and showcasing that my blood is boiling, I am working to invest and build in a society that will make sure everyone can achieve. This is something I have learned from Pontiac. Invest in youth recreation, rebuild our community youth centers, make sure that we have apprenticeship programs that people can tap into. And also, let's support the work of the incredible Oakland County prosecutor, Karen McDonald, and her Convictions Integrity Unit, which, by the way, I was just at City Council where we had 3 wrongly convicted men recently freed through the Innocence Project, other work that I am very eager to champion in the Congress. Thank you.
So mass incarceration is an outrage, and it's a stain on our country. We imprison more people than any other country, and they're way disproportionately people of color and especially black men. I work individually to free people who are unjustly imprisoned or who have reached their time and the prison system isn't doing them right. We have to take on systemic approaches, though. So it's time to end the war on drugs, decriminalize marijuana, and we passed the MORE Act, and we not only have to do that, but we have to essentially give reparations to people who have been affected by this. And so that's both specifically on the issue of cannabis and provide opportunities for employment and investment for people from communities of color and more generally. If we invest properly in our communities, we can transform the situation, but we have a long, long way to go. We're in a bad place on the issue of mass incarceration. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman Levin. We'll start with you for the next one as well. This will be for both of you. What 2 bills are you most proud of in your time?
2 bills
that you've introduced or passed or been a part of?
Well, I would say that one of them would be the EV Freedom Act, because it was something that I completely created from scratch. We gained a huge amount of momentum. AOC co-sponsored it with me. We introduced it in the 116th Congress. We're going to introduce it in the 117th Congress. And I think we really built momentum to get the amount of money that the president put into the infrastructure bill for for charging infrastructure. The EV Freedom Act would put high-speed charging infrastructure all throughout our highways, national highway system, crush range anxiety, and accelerate the adoption of EVs that we want to build with UAW, union labor, right here in Detroit. Secondly, I'll pick a very different one. My WIC Safety and Modernization Act, because it's a very practical way that we help poor people during the pandemic. Thanks.
Absolutely.
All right, 2 bills. I'll tell you, I've been so proud of everything we've been doing in our Democratic House majority, delivering for the people. But the bill I'm most proud of is the Building Blocks of STEM Act that was passed, signed into law on December 24, 2019. Suffice to say, I wasn't invited to the White House for the signing, but what that bill did is it invested in early childhood education with a priority on girls to get them into the STEM fields, monies that we want coming through Michigan. My other bill that I am really excited about is my plastics bill. I started the House Plastic Solutions Task Force because we have a plastic waste crisis in this nation, and it is a supply chain opportunity for Michigan to create jobs, invest in people, and help our environment. That one was bipartisan, that task force, and the bill is making its way through committee. So I'm really fired up about those 2 bills and obviously everything we've been doing in our Democratic House majority. Thank you.
So we have another question for the both of you, starting with Congresswoman Stevens. What do you plan to do to reverse the effects of racial inequity, inequality, and systemic racism?
We have got to put organizations like Oakland Ford and the Pontiac Community Foundation at the forefront. We have got to tackle a criminal justice system that has perpetuated systemic racism for decades. This is why I am a proud original co-sponsor of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act that I have voted for not once, but twice, and I want to go back to Congress to see that get done. I want to make sure that we are investing in public education equitably. I think that is a great start for us, certainly, and I want us to tackle job opportunities for everyone. When I left the Obama administration, this is what I was doing as a workforce development professional, holding manufacturing diversity days, the only institute in the country who was doing that. We can be the best practice from Oakland County in ending systemic racism. It begins with our words and it is completed through our actions. Thank you.
And the same question goes to you, Congressman Levin.
Yeah, so, I mean, the first thing is that this systemic racism infects every aspect of American life. So we're all for the passing the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. We've got to act on that. But we also have to tackle the difficult issues. So we have to end qualified immunity. I guess that's a difference between us. I'm an original co-sponsor of my sister Ayanna Presley's bill to end qualified immunity. There's that whole area. In terms of job training, I didn't just hold forums to talk about it. I created programs to give opportunities for women, people of color, and poor people, such as the Road Construction Apprenticeship Readiness Project here in Michigan when I was the Chief Workforce Officer of the state, the Environmental Conservation Apprenticeship Readiness Program, and No Worker Left Behind, which put 162,000 Michiganders back to school to study for in-demand jobs. And finally, on education, I think it's really important to say that I think, my opponent has said that critical race theory isn't a federal issue. I beg to differ. I'm an original co-sponsor of Jamal Bowman's African American History Act. We have to tackle these issues head on.
So we've got one more question for both candidates from the audience. If you win the primary, are you going to be able to beat the Republican candidate in November, and how are you going to pull that off? Starting with Andy Levin.
Yeah, so I've noticed a lot of interesting chatter about this. This new district is a 60-40 Democratic district, or something like that. It is a much bluer seat than my current seat or than my opponent's current seat. So how will I win the new district? by being the progressive champion. And my idea isn't just to win the district. My idea is to contribute to re-electing our governor and our attorney general and our secretary of state. And why? Because an off-year election is a turnout election. And Democratic-based voters are going to come out for a champion who's for forgiving $50,000 of student loan debt that we haven't gotten to yet, for the Green New Deal, for Medicare for all, for the visionary changes that the people need to come out and vote. So that's how I'll win the district, not just for myself, but for our whole ticket, so we keep power for our fantastic Governor, Gretchen Whitmer, and give her a state Senate and a state House that will support her at long last.
Congressperson Stevens.
Well, allow me to be clear, I don't sleep on any election, all right? So I think that we're going to have to work very hard to get out the vote in Oakland County. We're going to have to make sure that Michigan's new 11th district has record midterm voter turnout, and that is what I have spent my 2 elections doing, getting people to the polls. We had the highest record turnout in the 2020 election, and I take on Republicans. There is a gentleman in this race who's already gone down to Mar-a-Lago with the twice impeached president saying he wants to unseat Haley Stevens. Not on our watch. And I join my colleague in agreeing that the turnout in Michigan's 11th district is going to be absolutely critical to re-electing Governor Whitmer, re-electing our Secretary of State, re-electing our Attorney General, the defenders of our democracy, and you better believe my sleeves are going to be rolled up alongside our State House and State Senate candidates and Kyra Harris Bolden to bring new leadership to this state. Thank you.
Thank you all. We are now out of time for questions, so we are going to move to closing remarks. And for closing remarks, as a reminder, you get 3 minutes each for closing. And we will start with Congressman Levin.
All right, well, thank you so much. So thanks to Oakland Forward, and thanks so much to the Community Foundation in Pontiac for convening this. And let's hear it for our moderators. You all did a great job. Thank you very much. Really. This is democracy in action, folks. I really am here seeking your vote, and I'm so excited to ask for your vote as the congressman of the new 11th district. And I want you to vote for me for 3 big reasons. The first is I'm a visionary progressive. I have spent my whole life doing things that people didn't think were possible. People didn't think you could put 162,000 workers back to school through No Worker Left Behind. When John Sweeney, the president of the AFL-CIO, asked me to create Union Summer in just a few months, nobody thought we could put 1,000 young people out on the front lines of union organizing and bargaining campaigns and have 60+% of them women and a majority of them of color in 1996. So I've done these things over and over again. I created a new Haiti caucus in Congress because human rights are under attack in Haiti, and it's a cause I've devoted my life to. So first off, I'm a visionary progressive. Secondly, because I'm always going to do what's right, no matter what. My Uncle Carl used to say that you better have something else you can do in life because you never know what will happen in politics. And I think what I really believe about our beloved late Uncle Carl is that he did what was right, no matter what. And that's a lesson that I take to heart. So yeah, I stand up for human rights all around the world, and I don't apologize for it one bit. And thirdly, I am somebody who loves doing the work of Congress, who loves rolling up my sleeves and getting things done. Basically, I'm effective in Congress. By the end of 2021, I had passed over 50 amendments, resolutions, and bills through the House of Representatives. In our first term, I was second only to Katie Porter in our class in the number of amendments made in order in Congress. I love rolling up my sleeves and getting this work done. And at a time when we have the worst income and wealth inequality in 100 years, when the structural racism crisis is just screaming at us in our school board meetings and in the murders of people like Patrick Lyoya. And at a time when we're running out of time to stop overheating our planet, and when our democracy hangs in the balance, We need to send bold, progressive leaders to Washington to represent this new district. I hope I can earn your trust. And not only that, I'm not just asking for your vote. I'm asking for your active partnership in creating the beautiful democracy we all know is possible. Thank you so much.
Congresswoman Stevens, feel
Well,
free to go.
Allow me to say this, that Haley Stevens is a doer and deliverer for the people in the United States House of Representatives. I am of the people, I am for the people, and I am so eager to keep doing what I have been doing, which is getting things done. Record-breaking casework, 5,000 cases solved. What does that mean? A woman whose Social Security disability claim backed up over years. We got that to her, and I called her and I said, did you check your bank account? She said, yes, I did, and that has changed the course of my life. I am focused on getting things done for us. This is why I got the most number of earmarks done. This is why I got the funding for our mental health resources to our police department to make sure that we have social workers for those calls that come in that are mental health oriented. I am a proud daughter of Oakland County. I am the daughter of Jim and Maria. My parents are here tonight, and they came to cheer me on because no one in my family was supposed to go to Congress. My dad works outside in landscaping. He's a retired public school teacher. My mom put herself through college by washing dishes and being in a union, and I ripped the plug out of the wall in my life to run for office, to take on a hate agenda, and to flip a seat for us and stand up for every single one of our democratic values. You will always have a champion for the people in Haley Stevens, and I will always show you who I am and where I am on the issues. And so with that, my friends, it's 104 days to the election, and I would be so honored to have your support. Let's get this done. Thank you.
Would you show your appreciation once again for Congresswoman Haley Stevens, as well as Congressman Andy Levin? Thank you both for being here tonight. As well as our moderators, Scott Stewart, Michael Goodman, and of course, Crystal Proxmire of Oakland County Times. And again, if you're not a regular viewer of Oakland County Times, make sure you check them out and you support them. And I also want to give a very special thanks to Hannah Gianni, who had the hardest job as the timekeeper. Thank you so much, Hannah. Also want to thank Autumn Butler, co-director of Oakland Forward, for all of her support. Thanks to the marvelous Flagstar Strand Theater for hosting us tonight. And finally, I want to also just recognize a few final people that were here in the audience tonight that it's important that you know we're here. School Board President Gil Garrett has been here in the audience. Former Mayor Pontiac Deidre Waterman is here in the audience. Thank you for being here. Former Council President Patrice Waterman, former Council Pro Tem Randy Carter, former Congressman Sander Levin as well was here, former County Commissioner Jeff Kingzett. And we want to also thank candidate for Congress Matthew Denouter for being here as well. And I want to just say this as we wrap up, that it's important that you stay in tune with the election process. Make sure you vote. Make sure you take someone with you to vote. Make sure you encourage others to vote. Please share this video on Facebook, and you'll be hearing more from us on other engagement events, and we hope that you'll participate, because it's not about one party or the other. It's not about one candidate or the other. It's about being engaged in the civic process, so please do your best to do that. Have a great night. Thanks for being here. Please drive safe. Remember to vote.